Well, all right there, Travis. Are you ready for this episode of the UGO podcast? Is it?
Am I going to need subtitles for this?
Well, I don't know. I think you know what. I'm a little more. I'm a little too Cockney, a little too Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. It'd be more like a proper British gentleman for this one. Pip pip cheerio. Goodness, sir. Sorry for shooting you in the fucking face.
There was a lot of fucking going on in this movie. They swore a lot.
Like a real crass James Bond. But yes, welcome to the UGO podcast, Kingsman edition.
Woo!
Talking about the sequel to the film that, I don't know about Travis, but I really like the first one.
First one was great.
First one was super good. But yeah, we are going to be talking about that. It's just me and Travis this time around.
Justin is mysteriously missing. Nothing would happen to him whatsoever.
Actually, me and Justin already recorded for this week. We actually recorded the news and the trailers, but we did it for another podcast, another website. Actually, I went over, trekked over to the oneofus.net site.
Slut.
Yeah, and I used protection. I used windscreens. It's all right. And yeah, we talked about the news and trailers of the week on the Breakfast Pub. We talked about them all. It was like a 2-hour thing. Like it was like an hour for the trailers, an hour for just the general news. So we went in depth on that. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the general news of the week, you can go there.
No wonder we had to start like cutting Justin short during ours.
Yeah, well, it's like if it's hard to like have an opinion about absolutely everything that happened during the week.
True.
Like we got to some stories that were just like
the price of milk rose today. How did you feel about that?
I was incensed. Now you picked one that I actually care about. I care about my milk. How much I care about my cow squirt. You know how much I care about my cow squirt.
Milk flavored water is what you like.
Skim milk is milk. It's milk, motherfucker.
Not all milk, Nick. I'm sorry. Not all milk.
Hashtag not all white milk.
The milk discourse is livid.
Man, I'm gonna be really honest. I think we started off on a great foot here. I think this podcast really started off on a great trend. But yeah, with that, we're of course who's talking about cow squirt on this podcast? Well, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow unapologist,
Travis. And
of course, we are the unapologists of the UGO podcast. And if you would like to help us out, since if you're listening to this, you are also a fellow unapologist, but you can even do more. How, Nick? Well, I hear you asking how. And I have an answer for you. You can go to iTunes and hit the subscribe button on the UGO podcast. It's really easy. Just look for Isabella, the derpy dragon, in that corner there, and you can, subscribe to us, check out some of our back catalog, check maybe some of our Netflix and Kills, our other podcasts where we review killer movies. But if you really want to help us out, it would really do us a favor if you would, put a 5-star review in there and then write a little review. If you write anything in that 5-star review box, I will read it on the air word for word. Such as, I don't know, maybe you want to write in some more quippy English dialogue. Maybe you want me to do my Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins impression, talking about chimney chim chiroos. You remember that scene from Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
I mean, assume you've seen the movie. But
I've seen the movie.
But I always forget about that scene, about the chimney sweeps. Of just like, damn, I have no idea if this is offensive to Cockney people, but I feel like it is.
Nah.
Like, I feel like, I've never met a Cockney person.
I mean, that'd be awkward because it is also one of the longest scenes in the movie.
Oh my god, it's so long.
It goes on forever.
It goes so long. Thank you for saying that, because I always think about this movie, it stops dead for the chimney sweep scene. Yeah. Like, this whole movie, like, loses all its momentum so that Dick Van Dyke can whisper to you about, like, and it gets all, like, that dark, slow part in the middle, like, what is happening? It's so scary.
I mean, it's basically that, or the very end where they all dance. The chimney sweeps all dance around. That's also a very long part.
Yeah. I mean, when he starts whispering, I always want Willy Wonka to come into the next scene competing with there's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are rowing. and Dick Van Dyke's like, no, this is the chimney sweep scene. Get out of here, Gene Wilder, you fucking son of a bitch. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, that's right, iTunes reviews. Sure. Please review us on iTunes. But if you want to, just follow us on our social medias, you can follow us on Facebook, at Unapologetic Geek Out. You maybe give us a like while you're there. You can follow us on Twitter at UGO Podcast. Our Instagram is the same exact thing. So you can check out some of our con pics and, good, cool stuff. We meet cool people at cons. We take pictures. It's a good time,
Sometimes we ask.
Yeah, sometimes we're always consensual photographers. It's important. And with that, general foolery out of the way, Travis, how you been, buddy?
I'm pretty good.
How you doing? I've not seen much of you this week.
Well, you've been sleeping.
I've been sleeping a lot. And trying to get just, other random work done at the beginning. I've been hopping on podcasts. It's been a busy week. We did end up watching some of that Troll Hunter show.
Yeah.
That show is weird.
It is really weird.
I mean, for those of you who don't know, Guillermo del Toro has an animated show on Netflix called Troll Hunters.
That is like a DreamWorks show, right?
Yeah. It's... Well, I mean, is it? I guess it's sometimes it reminds me of How to Train Your Dragon a lot.
I thought it was a DreamWorks show.
I'd have to look it up. I don't have that information in front of me. But it feels like it. It sure does feel like it. Anyway, the reason the show is weird to me is just the fact that,
it's totally weird.
They kill, trolls and, seems like people a lot. I think we were just in the last episode, the principal got murdered.
Yeah, no, spoiler alert, one of the main villains assassinates the principal.
Yeah, and, they maimed one of their main characters.
Yeah.
Or not one of them, I guess main. I guess he's
a side character.
He's an important sub-character, yeah. I guess.
They introduce goblins in the show, and one of the first things I see is one getting destroyed.
Damn, they do not give a fuck about those goblins.
No, you see them splatter across walls all day long.
For some reason, because they explode into green goo, the animators think it doesn't really matter if we kill them on a pretty regular basis.
They also introduced gnomes, where they look like garden gnomes, and they show you one in a fucking glue trap. Yeah. These are semi-sentient beings. I'm like, Jesus
They show
Christ.
one later being quite heroic.
Yes.
So it's kind of I don't know, that's weird.
It's a little strange.
It means we saw the corpse of a sentient being as kind of a joke. It's kind of like if you just saw a Gungan corpse in Star Wars, haha, isn't that funny? I mean, those fucking Gungans.
It's a Gungan, so actually that is kind of funny, but
I mean, it would be funny. It is funny. But it's totally weird. Yeah. It doesn't really quite match the if it was on Attack of the Clones or if it was on the Clone Wars show or something, it'd be weird. But yeah, I think I kind of appreciate that because that's what keeps the show. Otherwise, the show has a lot of generic first season kind of problems with it. You know what I mean?
Although it clearly has a second season.
Its first season is 26 episodes, although it's clearly two separate seasons smushed into one. It's weird to me.
I mean, there's even you can clearly see which episode is, this is season 2, episode 1.
Yeah, it clearly delineates, and the next episode is it's a catch-up episode about all the shit that went down. Even the characters exposit the dialogue of this is kind of what happened and whatnot. And it's and it cuts forward in time a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm well, why isn't this just a separate season? This feels weird.
We even double-checked, no, this is still season 1.
Yeah. Sometimes I go back and forth on the voice cast. Ron Perlman is pretty cool as one of the giant trolls, the bad ones. Kelsey Grammer, I think is the Blinky troll. Okay, and he oscillates between charmingly annoying to just straight up annoying.
And useless.
And man, he is so I love how when trolls show up, it was just hey, we need you to fight some trolls. you two are trolls. Why don't you fight? Oh, I don't. I abhor violence. And then the other one's like pacifist, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, it's an interesting show for sure. I'm looking forward to trying to finish it, and maybe we might even do a review with the AA Battery Girls, since they were the ones that introduced us to it.
Although we can talk about totally weird things in the show is that, like, we say how, like, cruelly violent it can be at times. At the same time, when they introduce, like, hey, this is the object that keeps all trolls alive, then our first reaction was, oh, cool, we just destroyed that, no problem solved, right?
I mean, it would get rid of all the nice trolls, but man, really, it would solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
There's way more bad shit that comes from Troll World than any of the good shit.
It does seem to be.
Like, it's
like Troll Market. It's such a beautiful place that humans are not allowed to unless they are this one certain type of person, or they speak troll, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we forgot about the girl character who, I mean, it's supposed to be like surprise, she's gonna find out about this. But I'm like, yeah, but she's in the intro sequence. Like,
I mean, that could just be, like, symbolical, I guess,
but she's shown, like, fighting, or showing, like, running and fighting side by side with the characters in the intro sequence.
Yeah.
Although maybe that got changed up a part way through. But you're kind of like, oh, well, she gets incorporated into the team.
Yeah, but not till season 2.
Mm-hmm. And I do like going back and forth with her character, too, of like, well, you seem weirdly inconsistent with how much you dislike / like the main character. But yeah, I do find it quite enjoyable. We'll talk a little bit about it more once we've finished up, hopefully, and see where it's kind of all going. I do like that their hair is all, like, it never moves. Like, it, like, never. I love that the girl character is always doing that, that hair flip part, like, behind her ear. And I'm like, why are you even doing that? We all know your hair doesn't move. Like, all your hair is in the exact same spot every episode, every minute of every day.
True.
Like, there's, I mean, I'm still weird about that CG animation.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it.
Like, it's pretty tolerable in this one.
This one is pretty tolerable for a TV show anyway. But I'm still, like, in the background, everything is so fucking static. Like, everything feels dead except for all the main characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all I keep thinking is, like, if this is an episode of Avatar or Gravity Falls, or, I don't know, pick a half a dozen other 2D animated shows, there'd be a couple inside jokes going on in the background.
Someone would be losing their cabbages.
Like, yeah, or like animated, like, it just, like, there'd be stuff happening in the background that'd be, like, visual movement.
Right.
Yeah, but what else happened this week?
Well, I've been playing a bunch of Overwatch. They updated that game. So they have the new escort map, Junkerton.
Yeah, I have not played it yet. I want to try and get some matches in there.
It's pretty fun.
Do they have a new mode specifically for it? Sometimes they do that.
There's an arcade mode for Junkertown. I'm actually not sure if it's available elsewhere right now because I've never landed on it elsewhere besides the arcade map.
Well, it took me forever to figure out that. What was it? The German castle.
Eichenwald?
Yeah. Like, it took me forever to get there because I missed the when it first dropped, and then I had to just get it randomly, and it's kind of, like, weird how to trying to just get a map randomly.
Yeah, this is the change where they decide to get rid of Mercy's ultimate and change it to something else, whereas now she does not have the team resurrect, but still instead has just a regular skill being resurrect, and now she has, like, a Valkyrie mode. And her Valkyrie mode allows her to fly. All of her beam abilities actually chain between allies. Her gun is stronger, and her resurrect gets, like, a massive cooldown.
Yeah, they really retooled Mercy in a big way.
Which is funny because I don't think anyone was asking for that.
Well, I think maybe a couple people were. I mean, they might have wanted to make her a little more dynamic.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're sitting there, especially with her ultimate, you're waiting for the whole team to die.
Yeah. Now I really hate it though because anytime on like you play Mystery Heroes, as soon as the team gets a Bastion and a Mercy, like, all right, you win the game then because she'll sit there and just resurrect the Bastion whenever he dies. I'm like, great, cool, fun.
Well, that if I were to see and that's my initial instinct is to see a Bastion and murder the shit out of it.
Mhm.
But if I see I think I'm gonna have to switch up my tactics. If I just see a Mercy, I'm like, okay, you're my number one priority, probably, especially on Mystery Heroes.
Oh yeah,
I hate that.
Well, geez, anytime you see a healer, a mystery hero is like, I need to kill you.
Yeah, they're the things that keeping things consistent for the other team, which is the worst thing in Mystery Heroes is keeping a team consistent. 'Cause it's the hardest thing to fight.
They also changed Diva up a little bit.
Yeah, which is fun. I kind of like that.
They lowered the actual time her defense matrix can be up, but they decided because they did that, they gave her a rocket barrage ability, and then now she can also shoot while doing her jet charge.
And at this point, I'd be like, any listeners like who don't play Overwatch are like, geez, like all this stuff, like, is it really that good of a game? Why you guys like a big section of the podcast is just dedicated to the updates? It's a pretty good game, guys. I get a jump on it.
I mean, if you want me to start talking numbers, I can go into the Guild Wars 2 expansion. Then we're talking nothing but numbers. I don't think anyone wants to listen to that.
But no, very excited. I'm actually excited to jump back into that. And with that, this is the point where we jump into the news, but I'm actually going to leave that for if anyone's interested in what I thought about the news. Plus, there were a couple of big news stories, but like nothing super major. But if you really want to check out, some of our good news,
shameless plug.
Yeah, go over to me and Justice's Breakfast Pub over on oneofus.net, part 1 and 2. All you gotta do is, I believe for this one it is a subscriber podcast, but you can get it for just about $1. I think if you just pay $1, you're gonna have the access to it, and you can like cancel right away if you just specifically want the one podcast.
You just want to listen to Nick's voice some more.
But I would recommend you keep that $1 because you know what that $1 also gets you? Gets you access to all their previous stuff. Like all the other back archives of like stuff like the original Gentleman, or maybe their movie commentaries might be like another step up. Actually, might be another pay up. But you get access to the previous Breakfast Pubs and all the other news and trailer stories and stuff. It gets you access to a lot of good content. Plus, you're just supporting a really cool site with a bunch of really cool people that we quite enjoy. So that I would definitely recommend that. So we are just going to go into some silly stuff. We're going to keep it silly today. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So first thing first, I wanted to share with you here. I found this site, scrolling through Facebook.
Oh dear.
And I found it very funny. Apparently there's a Twitter account, called Modern Seinfeld, and the Twitter handle @Seinfeld Today.
Right.
So what the idea of this Twitter account is, and I love Seinfeld.
Yep.
I love it. Used to watch that with my parents all the time. It's a bonding experience. Someone has made a Seinfeld Twitter account that is basically treats it like if Seinfeld never went off, what would the episodes be about today? Like, right. So it gets some interesting theories on what they would put in writing what they would write. So here's a couple of plot points. Jerry's girlfriend dumps him for not wishing her a happy birthday on Facebook. Jerry says, "I said it to her face." Elaine goes, "But her friends can't see that and get jealous."
I believe that.
That sounds very Seinfeldian. I kind of like it. This one's funny to me. Jerry gets paranoid about his girlfriend's past when her iPhone automatically connects to the Wi-Fi at Newman's apartment. Oh. I'm like, oh, snap.
That's a good one.
Uh-oh. That's, I can totally see that episode happening. I totally see that. Although, that's a funny sitcom scenario. I wonder if anyone's ever used that.
I imagine someone has to.
I don't watch much sitcoms anymore.
No, me neither.
But I got to imagine that must be a plot. That would be hilarious. Let's see. George is too scared to break up with his intimidating girlfriend, so he just repeatedly responds to her text with, "New phone, who this?" Very passive aggressive. Let's see here. Jerry's girlfriend won't stop saying the phrase, "I literally can't." Can't what? Can't what? Finish your sentence! Let's see. What was it? When Jerry's girlfriend says he's no fun, he starts using emojis constantly. Ugh. She dumps him. Jerry goes, "I was being fun." Elaine, emoji guy is not fun. He's sad.
True.
When a website claims Jerry is dead, he's annoyed people aren't more upset. It turns out Newman runs a website that spreads death hoaxes.
It's a little morbid, but alright.
Oh, Jerry goes on to the Tonight Show, but pisses Fallon off when he refuses to play any games. George, him? I didn't know he got mad. When Jerry's like, he does. Like, you know what? That would be a funny sitcom scenario of Jimmy Fallon just getting royally pissed and just yelling at Jerry Seinfeld. I think that would be hilarious.
It would be entertaining to watch.
But yeah, these are all real fun. I think there's one in here about Kramer subletting his apartment to Airbnb, but he's living in the hallway.
Oh.
Like, he rents it out every night, and he's like, I'm making money hand over fist, and Jerry's like, you're homeless. But yeah, it's really interesting. I would highly recommend you guys check over that Twitter account too, again, at Seinfeld Today. And some of these are, I don't know how often he updates, but some of these are really not just funny, but they're actually kind of good.
Like well thought out.
Like they're actually pretty good plotline ideas for 147 characters. They're pretty good elevator pitches.
Or maybe that just shows you how Seinfeld wasn't that good.
Mm-hmm. No, Seinfeld was super funny. But that's the point of Seinfeld, is it would take these simple premises. And what I love about Seinfeld was that while Friends was about terrible people and pretended it wasn't, Seinfeld never pretended. It was always like, no, these people are terrible and we're going to punish them by the end of the episode, so don't worry about it. Like, that was my favorite part of Seinfeld. It was where every time at the end of the episode, everything that was good about the situation they were in would have blown up in their face.
Fun.
And you're like, yes, because you don't deserve that.
Because you're terrible.
Because you're all terrible. But yeah, that's absolutely great. One more silly thing, because I saw this thing when I was surfing the net as well. I think it was like the same Facebook page too. But you know, we all love Darth Vader, correct?
Sure.
I mean, he's a fun guy. But,
I mean, he's a lot more fun once his face gets burned off, to be honest.
And you know, I did like Sam Jackson in the Star Wars films and the prequels with the little things that I did like about the prequels. And I figured maybe we need more Sam Jackson in Star Wars. Jackson. So someone had the brilliant idea, and this is on the YouTube channel Taylor Culberson, at least that's where I found it, where you can go online on YouTube, and it's called Darth L. Jackson, where Sam Jackson... they use Sam Jackson quotes in place of Darth Vader dialogue.
Amazing.
So it's really fun. So we're gonna give that a listen.
Man, I will never forgive your ass for this shit. This is some fucked up repugnant shit.
I love how the breathing's still going on in the background.
I don't that's what really centers it in the scene for me.
The Death Star plans are not in the main computer.
Hey, if we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work him out like a puppet. You hear me? You hear me? Say what again?
I mean, that's pretty
Say what again?
I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
Say what again, you rebel fucking scum.
Pulp Wars.
I'm Superfly TNT. I'm the guns of the Navarone. You the motherfucker should be on brain detail.
I mean, it is pretty good the fact that no one else talks in those scenes besides him.
Only you could be so bold.
I do love that point where he's like, what a tasty oh shit, Princess Leia.
But why don't we leapfrog all that bullshit? Save ourselves a lot of aggravation and time, of which there's close to zero.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
Don't give me attitude.
Get the fuck out my face with that shit.
Holding her is dangerous. Word of this gets out, it could generate sympathy for the rebellion in the Senate.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I knew they would get to that one.
Shit, Negro. That's all you had to say.
Lord Vader?
Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fortress.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I
break your concentration? Dude, I was just thinking that was the line you should use.
Man, this ain't none of your goddamn business.
Vader, release him.
Motherfucker. Some bitch.
I've been doing this for a while, so I know all kinds of neat little interrogation tricks, you know. Good cop, bad cop, reverse psychology, stare down contest, threats, you name it.
Jeez, this is actually really intimidating right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared as shit.
Hold on to your butts.
Oh, what a good line to go out on. That's pretty good.
That was good.
Oh, man. I did love that when he chokes, and I'm just like, man, I hope he says, did I break your He's saying it!
He did
yes! I'm sorry, did I break your concentration, mother... Punk ass some bitch.
It's almost like he's been in a lot of movies or something.
Oh my god, I love that. That was hilarious. Oh, so great. So yeah, if you want to go check that out, just look up Darth L. Jackson. It's a good time. Makes me want to put like some more Sam Jackson or into other movies, like where they're masks and you can easily get away with it. I don't know, like, maybe even Man of the Iron Mask would be better if Sam Jackson was the Leonardo DiCaprio role. All for one, motherfucker. But yeah, that was great. With that, do we have any other news stuff or anything else happen in the week that we wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
We're going to the trailers, because I want to get right into the trailers. Alright, so we're going to load up the trailers. Tom, load up the trailers.
Yo, Tom from Toonami here. You're listening to the UGO podcast. And I hope y'all are ready, because Trailer Talk starts now.
And welcome to Trailer Talk. Yes, the UGO podcast. Thanks, Tom, for loading up those trailers. Trying something different now. We're trying a little bit more of our video feed, get a little more visual on it. Hopefully our listeners will bear with us a little bit if we make any visual jokes. I'll have to work on it. Oh, and of course we have Isabella for the first time watching some trailers with us. Yay! Hopefully she'll have some fun with us too. Hi guys. But yeah, anyway, what do we got up today, Travis?
Well, plus, I'm just going to point out the fact that we've made visual jokes before, even on the regular podcast. So
yeah, but we've never drawn attention to it before. We've never drawn attention to how unprofessional we are.
Pretty sure we have.
Now it is for the world to see. But yeah, we're talking trailers today. What's our first trailer up?
Yeah,
it's got to be Tomb Raider, baby.
All right.
We're looking up that new Tomb Raider. We got Alicia Vikander. We'll have to see what that works out with.
What's your name?
Lara.
Surname?
Croft.
You were the person with the name of the company. You know what? I almost like this scene as much as I liked it in Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which I hated.
Where he left off.
Like that wasn't a surprise. That was a look of terror on his face. Like, oh god, not one of these people again.
Hello, Sprout. If you're listening to this, then I must be dead. I found something.
Because I'm a daddy figure in a character's origin story.
Yeah.
Of course I'm dead.
If Trinity succeeds.
Alright, so we have Trinity as the villain, just like the actual games now. The reboot.
Isn't Trinity the villain in the second game, though? Like, I thought it was in the first game.
I didn't play the first game, you did.
Yeah, that's right.
I know where my dad went.
It's right in the middle of the Devil's Sea.
It will be an adventure.
Sam looks different in this game. Or in this movie. She kind of has more of a penis than I thought she would.
Minor problem. Jeez.
Woo!
That seems like a terrible idea, but alright.
You shouldn't have come here. But I'm glad that you did.
Her. You just stopped there. Her.
Like her.
What do you know about my father?
Now I see the likeness. The recklessness.
Close the tomb once and for all. The fate of
I
humanity.
like how Walton Goggins was like, I wanted to fuck your father, too.
And we have a pickaxe. And it's probably
the diamond pickaxe.
Adamantine pickaxe.
Quick, press B! Press B!
I feel like she could have just actually just kept
Don't
running.
be too careful these days. The world has gone bloody mad.
I'll take 2.
All right, so that was the trailer for Tomb Raider.
I think overall, I
gotta say, I see some red flags.
Yeah, I think I'd just rather just play the games again.
Well, that is one of the red flags that I was talking about. I think that this is, I mean, there's some good things about it. Let me start with the good things. Okay, so we got Alicia Vikander. She's looking good. She looks like Laura, but like the rebooted Laura that kind of has like this vulnerability about her that kind of makes her a little more of a compelling of a character rather than just a super badass. So that's pretty cool.
Tits.
Like that's no. Well, I mean, who could actually embody the original like pyramid tits of the PlayStation 1 era? But I mean, I like the fact that some of the like that ship thing is right out of the first game.
Yeah.
The airplane sequence where she jumps on is right out of the first game. My concern is that in the game, the camera can get all up in there and just go in with Laura and not even cut and edit like from one sequence to the other during those action sequences, kind of like Uncharted. And it has the same problem as Uncharted. Is like if you're going to make a movie about that, you're not going to get those scenes unless you're willing to like kill some stunt people and some cameramen.
Hey, that's the sacrifice they're willing to make.
Yeah, so, and then it's stuck in that weird thing of how much do you keep the same from the game and how much do you change?
Right.
And so, I'm going to put this in the category of Uncharted where you probably shouldn't make a movie out of the actual, the actual reboot.
Yeah, you should have made a new thing.
Or make it a completely new thing, but like take inspiration from the game. But then I think, oh, that's kind of like what Assassin's Creed was.
Fair.
That was also awful.
Also very terrible.
Maybe there's just no way to get out of this clean.
Like, stop making like this at this point. This is a video game movie, whether it's Tomb Raider or not.
I mean, so, and yeah, what I was saying about her Asian friend in there, her male Asian friend, that's, I mean, I'm not gonna get into like why, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna get into like why I think that they replaced the girl in the first game. Probably, I mean, I'm not 100%, but it could be because that the first game was seen as kind of a cool, like, isn't that neat that they're in a at least platonic relationship and it's not a romance, or even if it is like it could be a romance because they never stated explicitly that it's not. What if the new Laura was an LGBTQ character, like if she was like at least bi or something, and Sam is the quintessential save the princess in the first movie. They literally make her like you're the long lost deity of the queen of the island, and that's the way you have to get off the island. I mean, now that I think about it, the plot line is kind of just dumb.
Yeah.
But in the game, you don't really think about it because you're just having too much fun waxing fools. Just like, so yeah, I don't know how I feel about them trying to put this together. Like, it feels kind of like they want to take the best, like the video gamey elements from the video game, but not the movie elements, which is way wrong. Like that is, and then like the world depends on you, Laura. The first game, she's just trying to get off that island with her friends. Like there's only 7 lives at stake. They keep the stakes relatively low because they realize like this is the reboot and this is her origin story. So we should keep it a little more grounded.
A little bit on the down low. Yeah.
I mean, there are fucking samurai ghosts in that game, so it's not like it's not nuts. But they keep the stakes lower and more personal. And then the movie, of course, is like biggest stakes ever. So that way, if we ever have to do a sequel, it's always gonna. It's kind of like the Marvel movies now, where we can't do a superhero movie without the world being at stake.
Yeah. The world's always ending in new, different ways.
Yeah. I don't know. How do you feel about it, bud?
I'm not interested, honestly. Like, I enjoy the games enough, but like, I don't think I'd go out and watch this movie.
I am surprisingly tepid on it, considering it's Walton Goggins as a villain. I love that. I love Justified. And Alicia Vikander is a great actress, and I thought she was a really good pick for Laura.
Yeah, I have no problem with the actress. It's just the movie itself.
This is not selling me on it, guys. You're gonna have to work a little harder. I don't know.
Plus, our whole entire theme is actually closing the tomb, it seems. And I'm like, well, that's not usually how it works, but all right.
You have to make sure the tomb is never discovered. The opposite of what you do.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, let's move on to the next one, shall we?
All right.
I'm gonna move on here.
No, Isabella, why?
Oh my god, she didn't like the trailer either.
Isabella has spoken.
I would rather, it's like, if you want, hey Isabella, how do you feel? Face plant. You know what? I understand that. I get it. I share your pain.
She's a little top heavy.
Yeah, here we go.
So what do we have now?
So, you know what?
Yeah.
I think with that, I'm in the mood for some punishment.
Okay.
Yeah, after our last
self-flagellation.
Trailer, I'm in the mood to do some punishment. And you know who's back? Our buddy Frank. Our buddy Frank Castle is back, baby. And he's got a whole new Netflix trailer ready to go. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited. Let's give this a quick watch through. Those vigilante hippies and their guitars. Always picking up chicks in the quad.
There's plenty of time now.
I mean, at least this isn't a slow cover, technically. Oh, jeez.
Son of a bitch.
No one saw that one coming.
I'm assuming that must be a dream sequence, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
His family gets murdered.
Because he wasn't there, right?
Yeah, his family gets murdered in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not normally a Metallica guy, but this is really working for me.
I mean, it's very fitting.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me.
I don't know anything.
There's that shirt.
Fuck, that shirt looks awesome!
Jeez.
Yeah, most of that blood's probably not his.
CIA operation.
Maybe. I don't know.
The man in charge wants to meet that. Homeland. The FBI.
Okay, good timing. What?
You and me, we want the same thing. So work with me. On one condition. I'm gonna kill them all. Yeah, I can live with that.
Fuck if I care.
If I didn't want to kill him, I'd go work with Daredevil.
Right?
Ooh, I wonder if he's gonna get his van.
You're gonna see your family real soon.
Son of a bitch!
He is the Punisher, right? Not the Hulk.
Frank Castle's back.
The Punisher?
He's dead. Just look like the work of a dead man to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, give us the date, you sons of bitches!
Damn it.
You sons of bitches! I mean, how... They must know when it's gonna drop. They said 2017, right?
Yeah, we're
running out of time, guys.
There's not much of 2017 left. I mean, we got a couple months here.
I mean, it's either November or... it'd be weird to drop Punisher around Christmas. I feel like that's kind of... I mean, I don't know.
Family classic.
Isabella, I should have closed your eyes, Isabella. You shouldn't have seen that. That was wrong for you. Your eyes, you're too innocent.
Her wide, unblinking eyes.
Wide, unblinking, starry eyes. That was awesome.
Yeah, because I remember when we went to go see Kingsman, we saw the trailer for, what is that generic ripoff of it? Like Death Wish or
shit.
What was
it? Death Wish, the remake, with Bruce Willis, and that was that's some low rent Punisher shit.
Yeah.
I love this costume. Check this fucking look at this.
It's a pretty awesome shirt.
This is good. This is some good shit right here. And yeah, John Bernthal has been good casting for Punisher since Daredevil season 2.
Mm-hmm.
He brings vulnerability to the role that has not been present in the previous versions of the Punisher, like ever probably.
Right.
I really hope that they are not afraid to go in on this one. I
mean, they kind of have to, because you can't pull a whole entire season with just him killing fools.
I mean, I see a little John Wick in there where he's using the gun fu sort of thing, where he's got like the tactical assault rifle and going in on stuff.
True, but it also shows him sniping people.
It does. It shows that I want him to, I think they've already released some of the names of the episodes. One of the names of the episodes is Front Towards Enemy, which is what is the text in front of Claymore Mines. And I always love that in the Ennis comic books of his preparation for when he kills people.
Mm-hmm.
He always lays like mine traps, and just his prep work before the murder is always pretty impressive too. He takes pride in his work. Takes pride in his work. If they're really gonna sell me, I need to see one scene of him really taking it too far.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I love about the Garth Ennis comic books, is that he'll take slavers, drug traffickers, human traffickers, the scum of the earth, the worst people you could ever think of, and he'll make you go like, he'll do stuff to them, and you'll go,
damn,
dude, you didn't have to take it there. Like that seemed unnecessary. Like you start to, you get against your will sympathy for the criminals, because he does messed up. In order to get information out of one guy, he strings them up blindfolded to a tree, only to reveal like later to him that he's already started to work on his stomach and take out his intestines. Yeah, it was like messed up.
Jeez.
And this is before he starts asking him any questions.
That's some pretty good local anesthesia then, if he's going to make it so the guy doesn't know it's happening.
Yeah, he planned it out so that he wouldn't feel it.
Jeez.
So that he wouldn't feel it until it was too late.
That's fucked up.
Yes, it was so messed up. Like, and that's what I love, is just that because Ennis knows that you need the constant reminder, like, this guy's messed up. He's not the good guy in this scenario. He's just the bad guy for the bad guys. Like, cause he's morally he's not in the right side, guys. I guess if you really want to stretch it, he gets into the moral gray area. But really, he's a monster that has just contained his anger onto...
He's just directed towards the right people, I guess.
Yeah, like he's Dexter if Dexter used guns. And yeah, like I remember one time he just doused a guy in gasoline and just set his ass on fire and videotaped it so that the other drug traffickers could see it. And like the only message was him leaning into the camera as like, "Don't come back." And you know what?
It's a pretty good message.
And you know what? Those guys didn't come back.
No, I wouldn't.
It was effective. I mean, it was messed up. I wouldn't have done it. But you can't argue with the results and the fact that everyone was like, you know what? Cool.
We can just not go back.
Yeah, he made a whole criminal organization just go like, you know what? New York's yours. Whatever, dude. We don't need any of that.
We'll try the West Coast.
Just, LA seems to be calling. Those California girls. Woo! I love the Punisher. He is a interesting character to me. And I love Garth, the Punisher Max series. I'm not so crazy about the White Boot Punisher.
Frankencastle.
If you don't know what Frankencastle is, give it a Google. You'll have yourself a laugh.
It's good for a time.
You'll have so you look it up on the Wikipedia. You'll have it's a fun time. It's a little read. You know what? I was reading another comic book the other day, a Deadpool comic, where Punisher actually started to use villains' weapons. So he flies in on the Goblin Glider.
What?
Yeah.
Like, I thought you just meant he like picked up a guy's gun or something. Like,
no. Like super villain weapons. He comes in on the fucking Goblin Glider.
That's amazing.
And I'm just like, What?
That sounds more like a Deadpool fever dream than anything.
Like, well, I'm reading a Deadpool comic, so I'm like, okay, there's like a 20% chance this is just some sort of fever. Nope. He had a period. Punisher had a period where he was using the Goblin Glider and like some other Marvel villains' weapons. I don't know. Like he might have been using like the Wizard's Claw thing or whatnot. But it was dumb as shit.
I want to see that in a movie now.
It was so dumb. He just comes in. Willem Dafoe's like, "Hey, what the hell's going on here?" Yeah, I'm super excited for this. The Netflix series have been kind of for me. I mean, Iron Fist is weird because you realize it's the straight up first thing that Marvel's made that's just straight up awful.
Mm-hmm.
That's just straight bad. I mean, Iron Man 2 is even just at least watchable. Like, you know,
mostly forgettable.
Like it's mostly forgettable, but that's about it. I mean, Thor: The Dark World's the same thing, but Iron Fist is painful to watch.
I never even watched it.
And even like we were a little disappointed in Defenders too. Defenders was kind of like, I mean, it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I expected a little bit more for these characters meeting each other the first time, but you know, nothing spectacular.
No fireworks.
But with that, I think a really punishing experience. But I'm assuming that watching the series will not be a punishing experience. I hope it is the exact opposite. But
people are going to get punished for it, though.
We will have to wait and see. With that, should we move on to our last one?
Sure. What now?
Okay, so this one's weird.
And this wasn't?
This one is interesting, to say the least. So, what we have here is the new Wes Anderson film.
All right.
And you know Wes Anderson, he made what was the most recent movie he made? I think the hotel. What was that movie? The hotel, like I don't know, like that Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah. He makes smaller, the indie feeling kind of like odd comedies. You know. They're interesting to say the least. I'm not a huge fan of all of them, but they are interesting, if anything else. This one is his new animated film, with a bunch of really high named actors. I hear Ed Norton, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston's in there.
What race does Scarlett Johansson play in this one?
You're gonna have to go see, because this is called something The Isle of Dogs. So
I love dogs.
We're gonna give that a watch. They're delicious. No,
what?
that's so wrong. So wrong. I'm so sorry. Cover your ears, Isabella. That's just wrong. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna give Isle of Dogs a watch here.
The Japanese archipelago, 20 years in the future.
We were promised that before.
Canine saturation has reached epidemic proportions.
There's too many dogs?
Flu rips through the city of Megasaki. Mayor Kobayashi issues emergency orders.
Man, these human faces are scary.
Quarantine. Trash Island becomes an exiled colony.
What?
The Isle of Dogs.
They just threw away all their dogs?
This garbage.
Exactly.
Same here.
Words out of my mouth.
Never mind, the dogs are scarier.
Nobody's giving up around here, and don't you forget it. Ever. You're Rex. You're King. You're
I feel like Bryan Cranston's gonna rip that dog's throat out.
Yeah. We're a pack of scary, indestructible alpha dogs.
Atari Kobayashi, you heroically hijacked a junior turboprop XJ750 and flew it to the island because of your dog.
Darn it.
Wait, so if they're Japanese, why do the dogs speak English?
We get the idea. You're looking
the
for your
humans
lost
speak
dog
Japanese?
spot. Does anybody know it?
No.
I've lost all of my...
I'm so confused.
Spots, if he's alive, may very well be living, even at this moment, as a captive prisoner.
Somebody is up to something.
Dude, did you see Lurch in the background there? What the fuck was that about?
The little pilot.
Why should I?
Because he's a 12-year-old boy. Dogs love those.
We'll find him. Wherever he is, if he's alive.
I can see that dog's
we'll
ribs. Like, that was...
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fight.
It's all serious. It gets all Looney Tunes cartoon.
What's the fucking Robo-Dogs?
Or somebody spoke his language.
Okay, so they do know they speak Japanese.
Damn moon speak.
Wow. To the north, a long rickety causeway over a noxious sludge marsh leading to a radioactive landfill polluted by toxic chemical garbage. That's our destination.
Great.
Get ready to jump.
Get ready to jump.
So, I have a lot of feelings about that. Most of them are differing degrees of terror.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know what it is about that animation, but it scares the living shit out of me.
Their eyes, dude.
Something's wrong about those eyes, dude. I don't know what it is, and it's not the normal, like, because bad animation just has dead eyes, you know, where I can't see them.
No, these are murder eyes.
These are all very... There are souls behind these eyes. They're just dead. They're just evil souls. They
demonic possessed doogies.
And they're hungry. Like, when, I mean, I'm gonna look back, I'm gonna see if I can't find Bryan Cranston leaning in, like that scene where he's leaning in. Like, look at him stare.
Well, look at that dog side-eye him.
Like,
he knows what's gonna happen.
He knows, like, if I move 1 fucking inch, this dog's gonna rip my goddamn throat out. And I'm gonna bleed to death on the floor. That is what his eyes are saying.
Uh-huh.
Look at that.
No, they communicate that very easily. He's just in a still.
Ugh. But like Bryan Cranston's just disappointed in this dog's ability to cook meth, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, one of the things I like / have a problem with about Wes Anderson is that his actors, they always have that affect of like very deadpan. Like it's so very dead. Like everyone is very dead. Like Edward Norton is a very deadpan. Bryan Cranston is trying to do it, but his natural voice is so dynamic, I think, that he comes off as the most lively person, even though he is also reading his dialogue as flat as he can. I just feel like something about his voice that makes it, I don't know, a little more, like it's got a little more range or whatever. Like Edward Norton is like so dead, it takes me a minute to remember that it's Edward Norton.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett Johansson, the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I have like a minute, I'm like, is that Scarlett Johansson? Like, yeah, it is. It's just like no one puts a lot of emotion behind their voices, which is kind of like, it gives it the world that sense of unreality to the Wes Anderson movie universe, is that everyone's kind of like, everyone's just slightly put off.
They're all kind of the same level.
Yeah, everyone's on the same level. Everybody's like only slightly put off about stuff.
Like just in that very last scene where they're talking about how it's like, oh, our destination is, this radioactive waste fell. All right.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I was right about him like during the Grand Budapest Hotel. That was, I think it was one of his more recent successes. It's I mean, there's a lot like to unpack here about like, so the dog epidemic is so like, there's so many dogs, but then there's a dog flu. So they exile dogs to a trash yard.
I mean, we didn't get rid of any other animals when we had their flus.
I mean, I don't mean to get dark, but if it's that big of a problem, why aren't we just, like, killing them or euthanizing them?
You can't kill a dog unless for emotional impact.
But we will abandon them to
Right, we'll throw them away
yard.
in a literal trash yard, but
Yeah.
we can't kill them.
But and then as soon as you think the movie can't get weird enough, we get fucking robot dogs?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, what?
Robot dogs are always going to be funny.
Like, and then they capture the child because it's like, he will discover the secret of the Isle of Dogs or something.
Yeah, and I'm really confused with the fact that, like, the kid's the only one that seems to speak Japanese.
Okay, and let me say, who is this motherfucker here?
That's Lurch.
Look at that! Look at that Addams Family son of a bitch. Mm-hmm. What? He's got black lipstick on. Who hires that guy to do anything? He's obviously a villain.
Actually, Nick, it's actually Casual Friday today. We didn't want to talk about it. We let him do what he wants.
It's Halloween every day for that guy. Look at him. I always love that he's got like that head that's basically like a pear. Like it's just like this long fucking elongated head.
What if it's soft on top?
It's just that guy so weird looking. I mean, I got to admit this. I'm curious about it. I mean, I kind of wonder where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm the only reservations I have is just that Wes Anderson, that combination is not of deadpan delivery of humor is not always a win for me. It's very hit and miss for me.
The only Wes Anderson film I remember watching was the Amazing Mr. Fox movie.
And I like that one.
That's a good one.
And I like that one a lot. And this one does have, those elements that I kind of liked about that one, at least what I see from the trailer. I mean, and I love Ed Norton. I love him. I like that guy a lot.
There's a lot of names in this film.
Love Bryan Cranston.
Tilda Swinton, too.
Tilda Swinton's always a pretty regular for Wes Anderson, I think, and she's obviously amazing. She's always there's never a Tilda Swinton performance where you go she was not trying during that. She's always swinging for the fences, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm actually really curious to give this one a shot. I think I do love dogs, although I get ready for at least one of these dogs to probably die.
Just one?
I mean, yeah, at least one. You figure, right?
No,
that's why we have 5 of them, I'm assuming. I mean, I do like this robot dog, too, it fanning out its feathers like the Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park. I feel like it's going to blind Newman at any point. I mean, between this, I wonder, I would love to have this movie and, All Dogs Go to Heaven, of just messed up dog stories to watch.
That's a marathon for you.
To traumatize your children about dogs. With, cat devils running around and robot dogs and just crazy shit.
Throwing that terrible Cats vs. Dogs movie, too.
Oh, but that's just straight up bad.
Yeah.
That's not mentally scarring horrible bad. That's just a bad movie. But yeah, on that note, I think we'll bring trailer talk to an end.
All right.
That was a fun one, though, for this week.
It was interesting.
Anyway, we're going to take a small musical break. We're going to be back with our Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle review right after this.
Just because we get around. Talking about my generation. Launch off.
And welcome back to the UGO podcast. Today we're talking about the movie we just saw, Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle. Or I guess it's just Kingsman, The Golden Circle. It's this one, it's that new trend of just doing the subtitle thing.
Yeah.
And not really doing it. Anyway, this is the sequel to the previous Matthew Vaughn directed action film, The Kingsman, based off the comic book, which I've not read, but I heard good things about. I distinctly remember seeing this film in theaters.
Yes, we did.
Because I remember going in thinking this will probably be a fun little action movie to only be surprised and be like, whoa, that was
amazing.
That was really good. And what I really liked about the first film was was specifically the action. I liked the frenetic, kinetic, but yet not shaky cam.
No, you could see what was going on.
It's very dynamic in the way it's shot, how the camera would move with the action so that it could have this feeling of energy, but you could always see what was happening. Which I really appreciated. I really liked it, especially the church sequence from the first one. And I am happy to report that for the sequel, that action is back.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, we start off with a chase sequence in the very beginning part of the movie that's quite fun, where they even turn on a Prince song for a little bit, which is a good time. And yeah, that's apparently still back on point. We got Taron Egerton, I believe is his name. He's back as Eggsy, and he's still. You know what? I didn't give him enough credit on the first one because the first one is so Colin Firth steals the show. But he does a really good job. He's a pretty good leading man. He, of course, is the getting his, feet wet as the new Agent Galahad. He's trying to keep it together with his girlfriend, who is, on a surprising turn, the princess from the previous film.
That was really surprising to me.
That was surprising to me and kind of funny. I actually thought I appreciated it, because I thought maybe they're trying to ease back on that kickback they got from the anal sex joke at the very end of the first movie, which is interesting because apparently not everyone saw that ending. No, there was 2 different cuts of the movie, one with that ending and one without it.
Okay.
And not everyone at every theater saw that one.
Weird.
So I think some people might be confused going into this one of why is he dating a princess? But I thought that was funny because, the original line of him, of the anal joke in the last one was just kind of like a in-your-face James Bond reference of I thought Christmas only came twice or came once a year, sort of thing. It was a joke on the James Bond reference, and now they did something a James Bond movie never does, which brings that girl back.
The girl is back. They have just one girl.
It's like, oh my god, well that's funny. And the scene that they're in is actually kind of fun, like the first scene that pops up, because he has to get to the dinner. It gets to their dinner when he's in a sewer, or while he was in this sewer, and she's like, I was like, if you love me, you'd really kiss me. And she goes in for the kiss, you were gonna do it. You're gross. You're gross. But you love me, so that's cool. But you're gross. You should have better standards, but I'm glad that they're low enough.
Right.
So, yeah, this movie for me, it started really promising.
It started super strong.
I was really impressed. I liked that Roxy, his friend from the first one, the female agent, was just his friend, that they didn't do the romance angle. I'm like, they're going to do the romance angle for the second movie. I thought that was, I was almost positive that's what they were going to do. But no, she's just the best friend character, giving him tech support on a date. And not in a fact that that's the only role she can have because that's not in her field. No, it's in his off time. Just I need backup on this. Could you help me out? She's
also doing research for their current mission at the same time.
Yeah, she's multitasking. And even him, he's giving her messages back and forth you are the best. It's the best agent or best friend. He's both, dude. I loved it because it's he's doesn't have an ego about it. He's not getting all threatened by her. It's because that would also be a trope to do for the second movie, was to try and prove he's the better agent. They avoid a lot of pitfalls in the beginning.
To be honest, I think they do something worse.
They do. And that's what I was just about to get to, is that because in the first part of this movie, I'm wow, look at all these pitfalls they're avoiding. Every time you think they're about to fall into a stereotype, they just weave out of there.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, they take a little bit of a stumble, and they trip a little. And then at some point they fall head first into one of those stereotypes and plot stereotypes and cliches. And I'm kind of oh, damn it. It's kind of like watching a really good figure skating or gymnastics routine, and it's fantastic, but then they fall halfway in between, and you got to go, ooh. Well,
that's gonna hurt the points.
It's gonna hurt it's gonna hurt the judge's score. And yeah, because they decide to kill everyone. And when I mean everyone by the Kingsmen is just...
I mean everyone!
Gary Oldman, what do I mean? Everyone! Actually, it's Julianne Moore that decides to kill everyone.
Sure.
Because she's the villain in this one as this drug dealer.
And I do kind of like her introduction, to be fair, where she just starts doing this monologue.
Yeah, it's interesting. Her motivation is not spread by world domination. She's more resentful for the fact that she's the most successful businesswoman in the world and she can't tell everybody because her business is drugs.
Yeah.
So it's all about pride for her.
I mean, to be fair, being the most successful business person of an addictive substance isn't that great of a pride point.
Yeah, I mean, half your job is done for you. Yeah. That was kind of wow, Pablo Escobar was a real business dude of just supplying people with cocaine.
Yeah.
Wow, super hard that. I wonder how I can get this cocaine addict to take more cocaine.
Yeah, dangle it in front of his face.
Wondered no drug dealer ever. But yeah, despite that, she has sent missiles to like Eva, and this is not spoiling anything. This is all in the fucking trailer,
It really
which
is.
also might have to take a knock on that trailer. But for one, revealing a little too much, and two, misrepresenting about some of the stuff in this film of how involved certain characters are. But we'll get to that. And yeah, Roxy bites it along with all the other Kingsman agents.
Yeah. And okay, this is a spoiler. We're like, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, there's no way she's dead.
No, she'll come back in the third act, go like, oh yeah, I escaped in my like safe room, panic room thing, or jetpack escape from New York's escape pod. You know, something like that. And I mean, they've rendered gunshots in this universe to a mild inconvenience. Yeah. It doesn't stretch plausibility that she might have gotten out of an exploding building.
Exactly.
But no, she never comes back.
No.
We're made to believe that she is dead. So I'm kind of like,
all right.
But why?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets a weird feeling because then there's Halle Berry coming in as Ginger Ale once they do, because they find this, I suppose we should back up and go, first they find the doomsday scenario since Merlin is the only one left. Merlin and Eggsy are the only one left, but it's like, well, apparently he didn't think that the staff were important enough to target. And I'm like, oh, cool, then there must be a lot of other staff.
Right.
I assume there must be like a lot more people that run Kingsman. I mean, there's maintenance people, it's not just agents and shit. But no, apparently it's just Merlin and Eggsy. They never mentioned anybody else.
Merlin's the only staff, apparently. I'm like, what?
How is that possible? No. There has to be hundreds of people doing menial and maintenance-worthy tasks. Merlin can't do everything.
Apparently
That's ridiculous.
Merlin does everything. Merlin's just the help.
Well, they even showed that Eggsy has his own personal driver.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, there's more people. I mean, they might not be agents, but you can't tell me they wouldn't be helpful. So yeah, they need help. They open up the Doomsday Vault scenario. They find a bottle of whiskey in there, tell them to visit the Statesmen, which are their American cousins, which are basically like the Kingsmen, only they're cowboys.
And instead of being tailors, they make whiskey.
They make whiskey, which is funny. Their agents are named after alcohol, and we meet Agent Tequila, which is
Channing
Tatum, and he...
It's just fantastic. Channing Tatum as a cowboy.
He is hilarious. And one thing, it's like one of the best things about this film, but also one of the worst, because after that first fight scene, he is gone, my friends.
Yeah.
If you are here to see Channing Tatum, you are going to be...
We'll spoil this right away and just tell you.
No, I want to be more representative than the trailer is. He's barely in this son of a bitch. He's in the opening side. He
goes on ice, literally.
No, they literally put his character on ice. I'm not kidding about that. That is literally what they do to him. I do not understand why they felt the need to sideline him. And they replace him with Agent Whiskey, which is Pedro Pascal.
Oberyn.
Oberyn Martell, or one of the agents from Narcos, wherever you know that guy from. Also a great actor, sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got the laser lasso, which is neat. And he can do some cool stuff. But I was left wondering in the film, I'm like, why is this two characters? It felt like Channing Tatum or Pedro Pascal could have been just one character.
Yeah. Or they could have been multiple characters as just two. Like, why was there only one statesman that actually shows up?
Dude, for Kingsman being like this like super secret awesome agency, why do they only have like two agents? Like,
all the rest of them were like ancient.
Like everybody else. I was just kind of like, is this it? Like all these resources that we need is these guys and a couple jets or whatever?
I mean, I guess that is closer to the James Bond parody then.
Yeah, and anyway, they reveal that they've been keeping Colin Firth this entire time because when he got shot in the face, they put like a magical space
Metagel.
Science magic bandana over his head. It's like, we developed this for agents that get shot in the face. It protects the brain and repairs the damage with nanites. And I'm like, what about the bullet in his face?
Also, if it can repair parts of your brain, why couldn't it reassemble his eye?
Yeah, if brain reconstruction, if that's on the table, is the eye more complicated? Look, I'm not going to claim that I am a scientist or a neurologist or any kind of doctor whatsoever.
Yeah,
but I was a little confused. I was, but you know what? They wanted to bring Colin Firth back, and I get why.
Yeah.
He's a very fun part of the arc. It gives Eggsy kind of like this reconnection with his father figure sort of thing.
And to be honest, like, in terms of writing characters back in, it was like hardly a part of the movie where I'm like, this isn't what I like. This is problems I have with the movie. I'm like, no, I'll take this. I don't care.
Yeah, and man, what is it with the 2017 and the fucking, daddy issues movies? Like, it is...
That's a thing in 2017. I think that's always been a thing.
No, but I mean, 2017 has been ridiculous about it. Like, it's been so... Like, Guardians of the Galaxy... what was it? I think the new Lego movie is all about, like, his dick dad or whatever. Like, I mean, what else did we saw? Like, I mean, there was a plenty of...
Technically, you say the original one had daddy issues too, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess maybe that's just the Lego movie theme of just like, hey, dads, be better to your kids.
Also, the Batman one had parental figure issues.
Man, those Lego movies are all about it.
A little bit, yeah.
Man, someone at Warner Brothers didn't get hugged by their dad enough. Like, that must be a major concern going on over there. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that did work for me in this film, because I was just like, hey, stop playing on my own father issues. It's not fair. But here's where I kind of get some problems with the movie, is just the fact that the second act, there's like a lot going on, like almost too much going on. Like, there's too many subplots of like, we gotta deal with the princess character being mad that he might have to seduce a female agent. There's a bunch of people are being, got the are being getting blue rashes and being like poisoned by Julianne Moore's character,
right? And
she's holding the world hostage. And we have Eggsy's friends that we kind of check back in with every once in a while. Ginger Ale, Halle Berry, who is the tech guy, it's their version of Merlin.
Right.
And Merlin kind of have their own dialogue and their own kind of thing going on. And every time we cut back to one thing, like especially Eggsy's friends, I'm kind of like, why does the film think I care about these guys?
Like, I can understand that it's trying to like raise the stakes, but Eggsy doesn't know about them, so it doesn't really make much sense.
Eggsy never knows that they're in trouble.
No.
It's just for us, the audience, to go back and, look at these characters. They're also involved.
Oh yeah, we didn't actually mention the most egregious thing they did, which is kill the fucking dog.
Oh yeah, man, fuck. Why?
Yeah, just why?
Well, I think that they were trying to, like, what the first movie did was it established stakes with Colin Firth dying. It was just like, oh, this movie has, like, this real world application, it has stakes, people die in this universe.
Right, but they brought him back.
And now they've brought him back, actually kind of undercutting that message in the first one. And I feel that they tried to overcompensate by killing absolutely everybody else. Because it's like, oh, we gotta bring Colin Firth back, so we're gonna kill the two other characters you probably care about, like JB and Roxy. And we'll get to a spoiler section too later, but another notable character bites the dust during this one too. And yeah, this second act seems to kind of like, this is where I feel the length of the movie, kind of. I'm kind of like, man, it's taking us a long time to get to these set pieces.
And I really feel like if they would just, instead of introduce some other statesman that could have hung around and did something, it would have been a better movie.
Yeah, and not cut to the Eggsy's friends so much. Julianne Moore seems to have enough screen time, which is cool. I feel like
her character's pretty fucked up too.
She surrounds herself in like this 50s diner version thing, which was kind of like, oh wow, this is meta. Like she's a drug cartel leader that's hidden in a ruined temple
in like Cambodia, I think it was
in Cambodia, like an undiscovered temple or ruins, and she is designed it in the 80s theme of a 50s theme, restaurants and style that was really popular in the 80s.
Right.
So it's like Inception levels of like white appropriation. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here?
It was just funny because her character's name was Poppy too, and I just kept thinking back to the Trolls movie every time they said that. I'm like, it's a weird term for this character. All right.
Yeah, and the pun work could be a little bit better too. Like she makes an arm for her minion, who I don't think I think we should spoil that they actually kept that a secret through most of the trailer, I think.
I suppose.
But yeah, the cyborg arm she names like, I call it Armageddon.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, really? Really? Is that what we're doing?
It's
okay.
50s pun work too.
That's it's fine, I guess. Whatever. And there's a cameo appearance though by a celebrity. Like when Valentine was in previous movie, Sam Jackson's character, when he was abducting people, apparently she took advantage of the situation to kidnap a certain somebody.
It's pretty amazing.
And it was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was funny.
Especially the end fight.
I mean, the joke could go a little long every once in a while, but I thought like, nah, in the end this was worth it.
To be fair, they did actually have some payoff for it too, though.
Yeah. Like he did factor in a little bit, but we'll get into that later. I think the problem of this movie is, and this is the rumor I heard, is that there was a 4-hour cut of this movie.
Jeez.
And I just kind of want to go to Matthew Vaughn, shake him a little bit, and slap him and go, "You're making an action movie parody of James Bond. What the fuck are you doing shooting 4 hours? What is wrong with you?" Like, that's ridiculous.
Like, this movie could have been shorter.
This movie is 2.5 hours, and it is too long by a sizable margin. There's no reason it should be over 2 hours, and to be honest, it would run a little bit tighter if it was closer to an hour 45, maybe even an hour and a half.
And I mean, if they had more character development for other characters, I'd be more accepting of it, but they don't.
No one gets developed a lot more. Like Ginger Ale gets the barest of a subplot where it's like, don't you want to be in the field? And Merlin's like, I don't ever want to be in the field. Cut to later when he joins the field for no fucking reason.
Yeah, and like immediately contradicts that.
And then you forget about Ginger Ale until she shows up later in the plot going like, oh, here's back for my character resolution. I'm like, fuck, I forgot you were in this movie.
But hey, at least she's in the movie, unlike
Channing Tatum, who you will also every once in a while see in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, also Jeff Bridges is in this as Champagne,
but call him Champ.
See, that was fun, and there are good things in this movie.
Yeah,
it's just the fact that it's too long. Like there's probably, and the fact that it's repeating, it's trying to repeat some of the other stuff from the first film.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like they're trying to top you. Like, you know, the bar scene, they do their version of the bar scene. Which is,
it's a fun introduction to the character too, though.
Yeah, to Pedro Pascal's character. Although it comes forcefully out of nowhere because, like, Colin first asks, like, "How do I look?" And then this dude just shows up, like, and it's like, what does he say? Like, you British,
calls him a faggot.
Yeah, like a British faggot or something. And I'm like, whoa, dude, like that is not called for.
Actually, I'm pretty sure British faggot is actually a term for cigarettes.
Well, yeah,
so I'm not even sure if it's insulting to him.
Well, I'm pretty sure that is like their word for cigarettes.
Yeah,
I mean, or at least it used to be. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's just an excuse to have the exact same fight scene in the bar again. And I was just like, well, and then they call the guy Moonshine, right?
Which means he's an agent.
Which means he's an agent. Like, whoa, what a fucking racist and bigoted organization. That's...
Well, it's Kentucky.
Yeah, it's like, that's not cool. Yeah, and so does Pedro Pascal just whoop on and stab, like, his own agents?
Kind of looks like it.
I don't know. It feels like they went out of their way to create that moment, and it feels forced. Like, I'm like, this is weird. And the thing is about it, it's an enjoyable sequence. Mm-hmm. If they had gotten there more organically, I would not have minded so much.
Yeah.
It's the lead up to it that it's kind of like, oh, this feels out of nowhere. Yeah, I like Merlin. Merlin is always good. He's a favorite character of mine from the first film.
I love how John Denver comes back to this movie like multiple times. Like they keep playing a John Denver song.
I could have used the John Denver song 1 or 2 less times.
Yeah.
Like they play it over and over again in this movie. Like, I mean, I get the last time they play it, I get it. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand you were leading up to this. I totally get it.
Mm-hmm.
But he does keep popping in and out of this, and I'm just like, God damn. Although this movie's idea of America is that we are all chewing, southern talking, spitting cowboys.
Well, to be fair, I mean, both movies are supposed to be parodies.
Sure. I mean, that's what made it funny for me. Although I thought like it was interesting that like Channing Tatum was embodying that so much, and then he gets sidelined for the end.
Yeah, and like spoiler too, like his whole entire like it's like that seems very American. It's like the fuck yeah line doesn't even show up in the movie.
Well, if there's 4 hours of footage, I'm surprised some of it didn't get cut. But that was my favorite moment of the trailer. It was just like, feels very American. Fuck yeah. Fuck no. Fuck no. That it does not show up in the movie at all, which was disappointing. But they kept in Channing Tatum dancing, so that was nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a couple like really neat set pieces. We get like a ski lift scene,
and apparently ski lifts are also centrifuges.
Maybe it was just a fancy ski resort because the fucking like gondola or whatever spins like on its own accord. Like once somebody hacks it, I'm like, why would it even be designed to do that? Doesn't seem to make sense. Yeah, and like, I don't know, every once in a while there will be a gadget. Like, I mean, I'm cool with the laser lasso. Although they said he like, don't make me electrify the lasso. I'm like, electricity doesn't cut people in half. That's a laser lasso. Like, I don't mind that. I think that's just the right level of ridiculousness.
No, this movie is ridiculous, and it plays that up, and you kind of, those are the parts you don't care about. It's all the logical inconsistencies of the character development that doesn't work.
Yeah, well, they try and give Colin Firth a kind of like reboot, like back narrative, and it's like, oh, he has amnesia, and I kind of go, oh, god damn it. Like this old chestnut again. Although that's not his whole arc, like he's got to like reboot afterwards. And it's trying to play like, oh, well, maybe he's not as sharp as he used to be, although there's never a doubt of of that character arc of whether or not he's going to come back to his full thing or not. There's no suspension in his character. Eggsy doesn't really have much to do character wise, to grow.
No.
You know, most of it's wrapped up in his relationship with his new girlfriend, and even then he has a weird scene where he has to hook up with a girl. And he like calls her beforehand because it's like, and on one level, like I kind of really like that kind of part of the scene because like, ooh, what if you were in a relationship and you were a spy and you're like, oh shit, I have to seduce this agent in order to get shit done. And I'm kind of like, yeah, like I just need to go do this, and I thought it would be better if I like, you know, just got out of the way now because it's better I tell you now, and I'm only going to do it if you're okay with it, and this is better than just me doing it and asking for forgiveness later, right? Yeah. And she goes like, fuck no, I'm still mad. You know? So I actually kind of like that part of it. Although, what is with the American trackers where the only way they could get the tracker on the person is through mucous membrane?
Yeah, that seems like a really large stretch. Like they have fucking Metagel that can repair your brain, but they don't have a tracker that can go anywhere besides the nose or the vagina.
So it's another scene that feels very forced, so that we get into this scenario.
Well, it's the whole entire thing is that she has to be wrapped up in the plot, so Eggsy has more personal like reason to do it, I guess.
Right.
Because his job isn't enough reason. Like the whole world being at large hostage situation.
I don't know. This film does suffer from sequelitis a little bit.
It does.
Like there's no two ways around it. And you know, I mean, I really like the first one, like especially how it dealt with the Roxy character, and her not being around is kind of a bummer. And basically there being no notable female characters around anymore other than Ginger Ale. And it feels kind of like we can't have more than one or two females in the movie at one time.
And now you're feeling a lot like a James Bond movie.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, what's going on here, guys? I mean, was it the fact that like, oh, Eggsy already has a love interest, so what's Roxy's point as a character? I don't know. I guess I'm just mad that Roxy's not in the movie. Maybe I'm more mad than I should be, because it's not like she was a super important character in the first one, but she was a character I liked quite a bit.
Well, and since they made a point of showing her death, where it's like, all right, I mean, you want us to remember that she's in this movie, but you don't care about it enough to be in the movie.
I don't know. Maybe it could have just been a scheduling issue with the actress too. I can't judge of actually exactly what happened. All I know is that it doesn't feel quite good. It doesn't feel right. And what did you have Channing Tatum for like a day of shooting? What the shit, guys?
Well, no, because they still obviously have more footage of him.
Yeah. Anyway, but it does culminate into a third act that is super fun. Mm-hmm. It gets its steam back. It actually finishes on a stronger note.
Well, can we actually talk about the villain? Because I mean,
sure,
her actual plan is kind of entertaining.
Her plan is actually really interesting because I feel like maybe a better movie could have explained it a little bit better and put it into a more interesting context. Mm. But the context they do put it in is not too bad either. Is the fact that she is trying to legalize drugs so that she can be known as like the best businesswoman,
which is pretty petty. But
no, it's some petty shit.
Still, like on actual like supervillain plots, it is kind of one of the least actual deadly ones. I mean, yeah, she wants to legalize like heroin and crystal meth, but at the same time, like she's not actively killing anyone as long as they meet her demands.
Yeah,
it's weird.
And I don't want to spoil what happens with that because there's a glaring flaw in her plans that gets exploited, but I think we'll save that for a spoiler section because it's really funny when it pops up.
It is. Well, we talk a little bit though about how she decides that the UN is stupid, so she's going to just trust the American president as the leader of the free worlds.
Yeah, it's
he makes the decision of everyone, and our president in this movie is just an idiot. Like he's just kind of an asshole.
We've gotten to the point now where it's Donald Trump is very much in the mindset of people where
so this is more like Jeff Sessions as president.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that is actually a little more accurate. It's Bruce Greenwood, by the way, playing the president. Who at first you're like, oh, Bruce Greenwood, I love that guy.
Not this one. Like he's closer to the actual villain of this movie than she is at some points.
Yeah, and you gotta figure like he speaks for the whole world.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? Like, I mean, if you figure you're in, I don't know, if you're in the UK or like Canada or something, and you got a bunch of people that are about to die, and you go like, whoa, we'll legalize it here. We'll legalize it here. Whatever, give us the antidote.
Yeah.
I mean, like
that's one of those things that I kind of felt like forced, where it's like, oh, they had to narrow down the scope of the movie. So.
You figured there'd be at least a couple countries that would go like, dude, we'll make our own deal. We'll sign it right now.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. And she wants, and she was even mentioning that drugs, that way they can be taxed and probably represented and
yeah, except if she's a big corporation, she's going to find a way around those taxes anyway.
Right. Her goal is not all. I don't disagree with it on a certain level. I mean, when she first lists like, cannabis and ecstasy and it's like some designer drugs, I'm like, well, okay, those are like not as, those are no more dangerous than alcohol or tobacco.
Actually, some are less dangerous.
And some are even less dangerous. So I can actually see those being legalized and taxed and stuff.
But again, then heroin, like, also no.
Crystal meth. Well, maybe let's not go crazy. Let's not go crazy here. Like,
well, that's the thing though. Her plot isn't even like crazy.
No,
like, on level of supervillain talk.
Well, for someone who was so organized to wipe out the entire Kingsman organization, it's weird that she has 20 bodyguards at her secret lair.
Yeah,
wasn't it weird that she didn't have like an army of dudes and robo-dogs? Yeah, she has like. She has like, what are those like little robot pets? Like those robo-dogs that are on the infomercials? Fuck, I don't remember what those are. Like robot puppies or whatever. But like she has those, but like the evil versions. Yes. And they even have those visors that like the red goes back and forth like they're fucking Cylons. I gotta admit, every time those robots came
up, laughing.
I laughed every time. I was just like, that's so ridiculous. Like that's but yeah, the final action sequence is really fun. I don't feel like they ever really top the church sequence in this, so that's disappointing that they can never find their way around that. But people do get some really cool moments, some really good action. I feel like it sucks because there's less good stuff in this movie than the first one, and it's like twice as long, so not a great combination.
It's pretty glaring.
But I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun during those action sequences and parts, and again, that action is so top-notch that even at the end, even though I'm not as emotionally engaged as I should be by this point, I'm still having a good time and kind of pumping my fist in the air when the good guys are winning and the bad guys are losing.
Right.
So I guess I'll give this movie on that. If we want to just go into final thoughts and ratings so that we can go in the spoiler section. I'm going to give this one, I think, 3 weaponized chaw spits out of 5. I mean, I can't give it any higher because this film just did end up being kind of average overall, and I was really hoping for something on the level of the first one.
Right.
And it's hard to not come away disappointed. But if you did like the first one and you really are just looking for, a fun action movie, I think, you know what, I might wait until this one is a matinee price, or I would actually might wait to just rent it, really.
Or to be honest, like, I almost hope that people actually do listen to this review before going to the movie. More of the time we try to convince them to not do that, but since they kind of did not sell this movie right with the trailers, that it is kind of important.
I'm sorry, that trailer fucking lies. That trailer makes it look like Channing Tatum is half the movie. Like, he's like, man, can't you wait until Channing Tatum and Joe Edgerton kind of interact with his Southern Hick style and his Cockney style? And that shit never happens. I'm a little bit mad about that too. I'm going to be completely honest. There's a couple decisions in this movie that piss me off.
Yeah.
Like Roxy dying and Channing Tatum being so just a side character are like 2 of the biggest issues I have with it. I don't know. What do you feel overall, my man?
I mean, this is one of the movies I do have problems rating because I did have a lot of fun watching it. Like, going back and talking about it now, I realize I have a lot more problems than I thought at first, but it still was really fun. They did kind of like build up this world to the point where if they want to make a third movie, I'd totally be for it. I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, let's go watch it. Hopefully they learn from the mistakes of this movie and, cut it down a little bit, not kill off every single fun character. But, I don't know. I guess I'm going to give it a 7, which probably is a higher rating than it actually deserves, but I don't really feel like it deserves less than that. It's a really hard one because I still had a lot of fun. The characters are really fun. Some of the workarounds they do are kind of dumb, but I'm just like, yeah, but this movie's stupid. So
yeah.
It kind of is, it falls into place with the rest of the movie's trying to do, but it does have a lot of those glaring problems with it.
Yeah, and, with that, I think we could go right into a spoiler section. So we're going to take a small musical break and go right into that. But if you want to don't want to stick around for that, just always know that you can, stop here and, we'll see you next time. If you want to support the podcast, do those subscriptions on iTunes, give us some subscribes. It helps us out. Give us those ratings, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Do all that good jazz. We're still up on YouTube doing some new stuff. Hopefully we'll do some more trailer talks and new videos, some convention stuff. We're always, present in all the social medias. And with that, we're going to go take a small music break and we'll be back with the spoiler section right after this. So the spoiler section for Kingsman, Golden Circle. So, why don't we start with the main spoiler of our President Bruce Greenwood, and he finds the glaring flaw in Julianne Moore's plan.
This might be my favorite part about the movie, just because how over-the-top evil he is.
Yeah, he's giddy about murdering some drug addicts. Because the problem with Julianne Moore's plan of poisoning drug users and
hold them hostage
is just like, oh, well, if I let them all die, I've just won the war on drugs, because how are you going to sell drugs when all your user base, when your market base is completely destroyed?
And again, that's why I kind of made the comment about, I was like, hey, it's Jeff Sessions as president.
Yeah. And it's like, and even like the woman, even, what was it? Was it the vice president?
I don't know what she was, to be honest.
They didn't, the one guy was the general, like he was the secretary general.
Yeah.
But her role, I'm like, is she the VP? Is she her, like, or is she maybe she was the, like, part of the Justice Department? Maybe she was,
the Attorney General.
The Attorney General. Cause I don't think they ever state her role, but she's definitely very important in this situation. And she's like, okay, President, we can spin this, for sympathy. We can make this work. A lot of people would like these things legalized anyway. So it'll work out. Just trust me. We'll win the PR war on this one. And he's like, man, fuck that. We're about to win the war on drugs. It's like, a lot of innocent people were going to die. A lot of innocent, like, well, how innocent are they? I mean, come on, like, because they do drugs, they're just no longer innocent. Mm-hmm. Because some teenager smoked pot, she deserved to die. Yeah. Like, or because some dude tried ecstasy for the first time, like, or what? Right. Like, or like, how do we even know that some of her, like, designer drugs didn't accidentally get mixed in with some prescription shit? Sure. I mean, I would, if I was in charge of the drug trade, I would definitely have a piece in the pie of the prescription drug trade. Yeah. Or the elite, or, you know, under the table, I would, some Oxy or something like that. Yeah. So it's interesting because it's like this delirious drug where it has this dancing side effect, which I thought would come more into the plot, but it's just kind of like, to have like an interesting element, an interesting look to the element. That's so if once we keep panning back to the characters we don't care about, we can see them dance. Yeah. And so that there's something visually interesting and that we can tell what stage that they're in. And yeah, so that's the reason that Agent Tequila, played by Channing Tatum, gets sidelined so fast, is that he's the bad boy of the Kingsmen. So he's the one that does drugs. And I'm kind of like, and to be fair, when I look at Channing Tatum in that cowboy hat and spit and chaw, I'm like, yeah, he smoked weed. Yeah. Like, there's like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he just got back from smoking a blunt back in the Outback, before he finds Merlin in the cast things, he was just kind of like, oh shit, man, intruders. All right, I'm gonna put this out real quick and I'm gonna go take care of this. Because he is chill as fuck during that scene. That's also just because it's Channing Tatum, though. That is also true. So he gets the blue rash thing, they put him on ice, and he's gone until the very end of the movie. And again, they have ways of reconstructing your brain, but not a way of curing this drug. Again. Okay, so headshot, mild inconvenience. Like, a day in the hospital, apparently. But some kind of, like, neurotoxin drug? Completely impossible. So, yeah, and they have to team up with Pedro Pascal's character, Agent Whiskey, and Colin Firth gets his memories back because he has to jog his memories with a traumatic event, and they decided, like, hey, how about we use that event that we put all our trainees through, that really fucked up thing we do to all our trainees, where we pretend we're gonna murder their fucking dog. Like, and so he's back, but his brain needs to reboot. He starts seeing butterflies and shit. Because he used to want to be an entomologist. Man, there's a lot of fucking subplots in this fucking movie. And he's nervous about Pedro Pascal's character because it seems like he wanted to destroy the vial that they got. Well, you see that as soon as they get the antidote, you see there's a scene where he stares directly at it, like, oh, he's going to betray them then. Yeah, which is a weird thing because I'm like, wow, that's so obvious. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know why when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, cool, Pedro Pascal. I really hope they don't make the Hispanic guy the traitor. I don't know why that was my thought, but hey, maybe you've seen a Hollywood movie. Look who was right. And man, that was bad. The other thing I really don't like too, where just like Colin Firth's character is like, oh, he's going to betray us, and never in this whole 2.5 hour movie, never bothers to stop to explain why he feels that way. Never. No, he goes like, he basically, he's with us in the audience, like, you saw him look at that. Yeah. You saw the camera cut to the thing and cut to his face. Right. And it's like, no, Colin, you didn't see that. We saw that.
Yeah.
To you, it was just really weird that he saved Eggsy but destroyed the bottle at the same time. You thought that was odd timing and decided to shoot him in the fucking face. And I'm like, that's what I was hoping, that at the end it would turn out that he would show up at the very end and save them and go like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Oh, so you weren't betrayed? No! Oh, sorry about that, old chap. Sorry? You shot me in the face. Oh, come on. It happens to us all the time. Like, I was hoping that maybe that would be a running joke in like the next movie or something, of just like, hey, maybe don't
where they literally make headshots an inconvenience.
Yeah, maybe Pedro Pascal just shoots him in the head again. Like
every time they meet from now on, they try killing each other.
Oh, you almost got me in my other eye. But no, and the fact that they make it so obvious.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't have made it less obvious so that I can at least wonder if he's going to betray the team or not.
It's really not even an option.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. He has a really cool scene where he shoots all those people in the snow and then uses his laser lasso.
Most of that scene you see in the trailer.
Yeah, and I don't know. It would have been better if they had if Colin Firth at least questioned his judgment of like, oh, maybe I'm not making better decisions or something. But he never does.
No.
He never questions it.
Although, to be fair, I am kind of glad they didn't just do like, oh yeah, he was actually secretly Poppy's agent the whole entire time. It was actually just a tragic backstory. I'm like,
well, no,
right.
because because it wouldn't make sense the other way. Because it's like, oh well, why? Like, hey, because they start to think, what if Kingsman, all of Kingsman was in on it? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. As soon as you showed up and you told them what was going on, they would have murdered you.
Yeah.
Like that would at least some of them are not dirty.
Right.
So that's a ridiculous theory to have.
But if it was just whiskey being part of it, that's more plausible because he was like in New York when they first got there or something.
But instead it's more believable because it's just like, no, I just didn't want this mission to succeed because of my own personal shit, because my wife died from a couple meth heads robbing a convenience store, thereby judging anyone who has ever used drugs ever. But yeah, that leads us to our final, action sequence. Eggsy's girlfriend has taken drugs after the ensuing sex incident, the seduction sequence that happened. So she's also at stake. There's plenty of innocent people gathered up into like football fields and cages, having a rave sick party. It's weird.
Well, no, because like the president decides, oh, we're going to pretend that we're going to meet her demands, but actually we're just going to get everyone to go into these field hospitals and then lock them in cages and wait till they die. I'm like,
damn,
fuck, that's dark.
Damn.
I'm electing him again.
Yeah, I did like how the VP did end up doing some sort of drugs. I don't know what they should end up doing. Is like, I work 20-hour days for you. Maybe another human being can do that without some chemical help, but I can't do it. I do love she is like, I'm glad to take care of stuff during this transitionary period, and I'm like, you could have just, I don't know, yelled about it when it was at first happening.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be an asshole about it, but I know that you were morally against it. Cool. But it kind of reminded me of this current administration. I was like, I'm not really concerned of what you feel. Like,
I feel what you do.
I feel really uncomfortable. Like, do something about it then. Jesus. But no, she waits until after to do stuff about it. So that's fine. I'm sure she knew the Kingsmen were on the case.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't have to worry about it.
Also, can we mention how fucked up it is the fact that the Statesman had had spying capabilities in their whiskey bottles?
Yeah,
there was a whiskey bottle in the Oval Office that they could sneak in and hear on.
Yeah.
And how many of their other bottles have that functionality?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it came in handy in that situation, but you gotta figure that's
kind of fucked up.
That's American soil, my friend. They're an independent intelligence organization, sure, so they don't have to abide by the same rules as, say, I don't know, the CIA or
that would still be treason or something.
But you'd figure that the American government would not be super happy about them eavesdropping on them. It would be a little bit of a sticking point.
Also, considering how many whiskey bottles are sold, I imagine that if they do that, where they put spying equipment in their whiskey, then they could just spy on the fucking whole country.
It's like Batman's thing from The Dark Knight where he turns every cell phone to an listening device.
Yeah. A little fucked up.
Only they don't destroy it at the end like Morgan Freeman's whole moral speech. They're just like, nah, we'll keep these around. I do like with all their resources because we finally get American versions of the gadgets. And I'm like, as soon as they finally show up, I'm like, oh, where were these the rest of the movie?
Yeah.
That seems like a really late addition.
One of the things they added in was a minesweeper.
That doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
What's the point of because it's a baseball bat that turns into a minesweeper. Cool. Step on a landmine. This thing is useless.
But it's alright because they use it later to hit the baseball hand grenade.
Yeah, which is funny. Now that was a good one that I liked. I was like, oh, the baseballs are hand grenades. Okay, that's cool. That's American.
I just don't like the fact that that's the only purpose of the bat.
Sure. And yeah, we have briefcase, rocket launcher / machine gun / riot shields.
It's quite functional.
That briefcase was versatile. Merlin joins the field just so that when they step on a mine, he can sacrifice himself.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Which, don't get me wrong, his ending sequence where he sings the John Denver song, pretty cool. It was pretty emotional and stuff. But that lead up was just like, okay, why is Merlin here to begin with?
And why does the baseball bat not work?
If they set it up that Merlin had a purpose to be there other than what if one of us stands on a landmine and we need a sacrificial lamb?
Yeah. Or they could have played up where it's like, oh, we actually do think that at least someone at Statesman is a spy and you're not safe here.
Yeah. And it's like, and he said that he doesn't want to be in the field. Why didn't Ginger Ale go in there?
Yeah.
Like, hey, no, this is my chance to prove myself as a field agent.
Right.
That way she doesn't just become Agent Whiskey at the end when we've never seen her show any capability other than her hacking stuff.
No.
Which, no, don't be wrong, is cool and everything, but doesn't qualify you immediately for field work.
No. As I guess Merlin showed.
Yeah. So yeah, he steps on a landmine and he uses like this, freeze thing to give himself a half second
because Eggsy steps on the landmine.
Yeah, so that he can give himself a half second so that he can push Eggsy off and step on it himself. And I was kind of like, couldn't you use that half second to get the fuck out of there? How big is this landmine? Although they did show it was pretty big later, so maybe that half second wouldn't have been enough.
Well, also they do mention that they can deactivate the landmines too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can deactivate them. Like in the Julianne Moore can deactivate them.
Yeah, and
he's like, but no, I have to kill these 5 guys because you couldn't take out 5 more guys on top of the 20 guys. It feels super unnecessary and forced.
Yeah. And
it's just contrived. And it's just so that we can have another emotional death sequence since we've taken one away with Harry. I
really don't feel like Colin Firth's character is worth all these deaths.
Well, I'm hoping in the next one they bring everybody else back too. Mm-hmm. And just like, that's just a thing that they do now is just bring everyone back to life.
Because I mean, honestly, like the fact that Roxy didn't show up doesn't necessarily mean she's even dead because she still only died off screen.
Yeah, she can totally come back. There's no reason she can't come back. I liked it that they just keep finding that they're dead people with amnesia. Like that, if that's a running trope, I would kind of find that kind of funny.
I guess if they keep making movies, like the 4th movie just becomes like, oh my god, why? Here's your dog. Oh god.
Oh no. Like he just carries his dead dog around.
I mean, they just have an Instagram account of just their dogs.
Just dogs. Yeah, and so yeah, we get the final action sequence in the 50s style town with all these different people and like robots
and Elton fucking John.
And Elton John shows up in this film.
Oh god, that was fantastic.
And Elton John is hilarious. He starts singing Wednesday. Is this supposed to be Saturday? What day is today, you son of a bitch? Wednesday. Exactly.
And he was surprisingly like one of the best parts of that movie.
He jump kicks people. He defends. He comes in later as a defense against the robot dogs because they treat him as a friend.
He bashes them on their heads with a bowling ball.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Eggsy has to fight his old rival from the first movie, which is he's the robot arm guy, which is I did not recognize him from the trailers.
No,
I did not catch that until the movie started, and glad that Eggsy. It looks like Eggsy didn't recognize him either because he had that recognition going like, Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit! It's been a long time, man. How are you? I'm missing my arm. Oh yeah, that's right.
He wasn't even supposed to be alive, but again, death is a mild inconvenience.
Because his neural uplink got messed up, so it didn't blow up his head, it blew up his arm. Because that's how that works.
Yeah.
Hey?
Whatever.
Yeah, so he's working for Julianne Moore, and it is a fun action sequence. It's a really cool action sequence. Although there is that moment when the ballistas take out like the grenade launcher grenades.
No, the bolus.
The bolus, yeah. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that actually was the part that took me out of the movie because it's a rope connected to like two weighted balls. It's not.
And I was like, out of all the things like to nitpick about this movie, that none of the logic in this makes sense. But that was just like, that was weird. I don't buy that.
It's a scene that for some reason just took me out of the movie, and I don't
laser
know why.
lasso, I'll buy. Yeah. I'll buy a laser lasso.
Well, it's because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But just tossing a bolus and just be like, oh, it caught 3 grenades. I'm like, is it a sticky bolus? Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I guess there's just not a whole lot of reasoning behind some of this, like, stuff, like, because even the golden circle, you remember that they have a gold tattoo of the circle? And you're like,
why?
Well, why? Like, you're not Goldfinger. Like, why do you have them?
Is it some kind of 50s aesthetic, or what is this?
Is it, like, what does it represent? Is it, like, is it greed? What does it say? Other than just a distinguishing factor for gold circle agents, which is bad for spycraft.
Yeah.
It immediately marks you as a fucking enemy combatant and an agent. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. I did like the robot dog fights, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also like, one of them is charging. We've never even seen them charging before, but that's why they hang out in the dog houses, because that's their chargers. And it's like, why is one of them charging? Because so we can fight them one at a time.
Yeah.
And it was another one of those moments that was just like, hey, you know this element that we haven't introduced until just now, so that we can justify Colin Firth fighting these dogs one at a time? Yeah.
I feel like a movie this long shouldn't have this many plot holes. Like, they should have had time to actually discuss this shit.
Well, if it would be shorter, it would have less plot holes, too. Like, I did like the fight between Eggsy and Charlie, or whatever his face was, because even by that point, when he hacks the arm, it's funny, and then when he takes the arm off, he's just like, you know what? I could just whip your ass right now, but I'm gonna make this fair gentleman style.
And he literally beats him with his hand
behind his back. And I thought, I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I kind of like that. Like, it was like that on guard moment I kind of liked.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they get the password Julianne Moore's character by giving her the heroin and infecting her. And she was just like, oh, you're smart. You should be working for me. And so she gives him the passcode and then ODs. And Harry's like, you gave her too much. Did I? And it's like, it kind of portrays Eggsy as like this cold-blooded murderer, which is, don't get me wrong, yeah, it's fine. She murdered your dog and everyone that you cared about. So yeah, you're justified in that.
Yeah.
I just hope that was the right fucking code, okay? Like,
well, at that point it didn't matter because she was going to OD, like, basically no matter what, because again, they still didn't have an antidote.
Yeah. So they're about to put that in, and Pedro Pascal comes in and is like, I'm the traitor that everyone thought I was. And it's like, God damn it. But they do have a really fun fight sequence in which he gets shoved into a meat grinder at the end.
Yeah, because that thing comes back, because it actually did show up in the beginning of the movie as well.
Mm-hmm. With a character that ultimately doesn't mean a whole lot.
No.
Like, they do this whole thing for setting up for her relationship with Angel, or Angel, or however the hell to pronounce it.
Yeah.
And just for him to party with Elton John later, and they get punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
Elton John saves the day. We get a play on the previous joke of like, if I save the world, can I get two passes to your next show? If you save the world, you can get backstage passes. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Pat on the back.
Like,
pat on the face, actually.
I just like, I mean, I did kind of, at one level, I kind of like the fact that they're playing with the joke that they got heat for in the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of like, okay, we'll do the safer version of the joke, and then of just like a little play on it. And so like, yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. And by the end of it, there's still 2 Agent Galahads. And I know that there's a deleted scene of Colin Firth taking over as the new Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
Which
makes sense.
That would be his new role, or the leader of the Kingsmen.
Right.
Or
he'd be Arthur.
Yeah, or it would be his like fatherly role or something. He'd either be Merlin or Arthur. Those are the 2 roles. He isn't going to be Galahad again. That doesn't make any sense. And of course the Kingsmen want one of them to be Whiskey. What?
Because the whole name change thing means one of you has to transfer to America. I'm like, or they could just take a different role.
Well, in the Kingsmen, when a position opens up, every other notable person with a code name suggests a candidate, and they all get weeded down to like the best one.
Right.
And I guess the Kingsman is just like whoever's on hand,
Statesman.
The statesman, whoever's on hand, whoever's around in the immediate vicinity. I mean, seems like an odd organizational tactic. But yeah, they finance the reorganizing of the Kingsmen. They're like, we're brothers now, and we're gonna be all that way. Now we're kin. More Jeff Bridges quotes.
Well, they made a big deal about how it's like, oh, well, since we make whiskey, we have way more money and resources than Kingsmen. I'm like, did Kingsmen not have enough resources? Like,
Kingsmen had crazy shit. Don't get me wrong, it seems like you guys have the same shit.
Yeah.
Like, you have the same tech, except for the, the fucking headshot cure technology. Right. Like, they're behind on that, but everything else they seem to have. Like, they even have the same fucking rooms that fill up with water for no reason. Yeah. And it's, how'd you hack your way into our base? I don't know, use the same system as us. Like, this lodge watches like the same fucking thing. But yeah, again, I just thought it was a little bit of a disappointment. I expected a little bit more, but not gonna lie, I had some fun time. I'll probably watch it again once it comes out on DVD or something. I'll probably rent it or something. But with that, yeah, we're going to bring this episode to an end. Bring it all to an end with even a cameo by Channing Tatum by the very end, because he was barely in this podcast too.
Yeah. Actually, he was in this podcast more than he was in the movie. But
yeah, I was like, maybe we should have stuck around for the end credits too, because it felt weird that he'd just show up at the end. Like, is he now a Kingsman agent?
Yeah, there's a stinger where he like shows up at Kingsman.
Is he just visiting? Well, you know what? Thank you guys for just visiting the UGO podcast and spending some time with us, talking about some British and American spies taking over, watching some Sam Jackson, Darth Vader speeches, watching, Punisher trailers and Tomb Raider trailers and really scary dog trailers. It's been a fun time for sure. And again, if you'd like to follow us on any of our social media, we would greatly appreciate it. Helps out the podcast a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes. And with that, we are on Apology Nico, and we're out.